And we're live. Hello, and welcome to The Dead Within. This is episode 8. Thanks for joining us tonight and watching. And you're joined with me, Mike Mason, with Lynne. So hello, Lynne. Jema.
Hello.
Hello. Becky.
Hello.
And Jayson.
Hello.
Hello, Jayson.
You got over your hangover.
Some water.
It's good to see that Eleanor's feeling a lot better this week.
Very good. Yes, Eleanor last week had drunk heavily the night before, if you remember, and we decided that she spent the rest of the day in her room, getting over the hangover. But luckily it's the day hence, and so you're all better now, which is all good. Now we were going to do a quick recap of what happened last time, and if my memory isn't failing me,
please don't be me.
Jema is going to do the recap. So over to you, Jema.
Okay, I have my lovely assistant here. Okay, after Eleanor had withdrawn to her room, somewhat inebriated and worse for wear with hangovers and things, it all got very exciting, as it were. So we had a very distraught ballerina she declared her passion for our lovely Maxime Elliot, and sadly Maxime is married, and the plot will thicken on that in a moment, but not really interested. Ballerina devastated. There was sadness and tantrums, and we thought we'd have a brilliant plan whereby the boys could go and rifle through Krylov, our master magician's office, whilst Georgina kind of attracted him, took him for lunch, said thank you for signing the visas. But it appears that he was not in Moscow at all, and all was quiet on the Western Front. Georgina never made her appointment to the Savoy bar, to where Laskin, our tour guide, and our lovely ballerina Oksana were going to overlook and make sure that nothing untoward happened. You can have old musicians, they're always a bit weird. But to Francis's great pleasure, Laskin and Oksana hit it off massively, and romance is blossoming, so that takes the heat off Maxime, which is just as well as Maxime admitted to Georgina that in fact his friendship with Edward was perhaps of a slightly more impassioned nature than he had previously given everyone. And was feeling very conflicted about that. We decided to go and rifle through Krylov, the magician's room anyway, because that's what you do, right? If you know that someone is out of town, obviously you break into their office and steal anything that isn't pinned down. So we went to Krylov's after some excitement with guards and distractions. Francis, again, showed some aptitude for finding his way into locked rooms.
It was just stuck, it wasn't locked.
Yeah, it wasn't locked at all, no. And in the room, we found 2 wonderful pictures. There was one of Lenin and one of Stalin on the wall, and it did seem like the room had been emptied out of everything other than that. Behind Lenin's picture, there was a little rhyme about collecting knowledge, amassing knowledge, always accepting the knowledge. And behind Stalin's picture, there was which Georgina noted from her trips to the British Library and looking at exciting art things, was a sort of little pictogram that had turned up in the Elizabethan magician John Dee's Enochian and general magical writings. It basically looks like a little man with horns.
So in a boogie.
Which was very exciting. We then went and had a little chat with Mr. Weston and passed on the letter from Mr. Palliser, who was in a sort of model Labour camp, which did not sound particularly pleasant. Next, and Mr. Weston is going to arrange travel to the lake that it seems that our dear departed have been mentioning being underwater, being near lakes. It also seems that someone called Anna, a Russian lady, lives near the lake, and potentially, the thing known as Huber, whom we have conflicted feelings about calling down in order to restore our beloved and everyone else who has ever died across the earth back to us, may or may not be associated with such lake. But either way, it looks like we are going on a journey.
Very good. So it is, if I remember correctly, it is the morning of Thursday, the 7th of November. Does anyone disagree with me on that one?
We've all been out dancing in Red Square from what I wrote down.
That's what I thought. Yeah. So
That's right.
It's the morning after the dancing in Red Square. And as far as I think you have a midday meeting with Mr. Weston again regarding details for this excursion to Lake Onega, where Palliser and the Labour camp are. But in your itinerary today, it is the 7th of November Red Square celebrations, you know, the 12th anniversary of the People's Revolution. And so yesterday was just the build up. Today's the main event. You do have the itinerary today is basically, you know, celebrations around Red Square. But other than that, as I say, the meeting with Weston around lunchtime.
We had the meeting with Weston.
So this is your meeting with him to confirm details, basically.
Yeah, he was going to confirm the details of our travel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of
After
course.
that, we go to see Weston, who says we have to leave tonight.
This is the yes, I was jumping ahead that he was, basically you can't, I mean, you were the last thing you were doing was you were in the hotel. So basically you tonight, as in the 7th tonight, and you are finalizing your details today basically to go. Yeah, basically that's the long and the short of it, roughly. Unless there is anything else you wish to do before your meeting with Weston and so on.
No, I don't fancy.
I might try and have a conversation with Oksana and just see if she's still mad keen to leave the country, and whether that is something that we should be pursuing for her, or whether we can just let that one go now.
Okay.
Is she happy with Mr. Laskin?
Yeah, well, you can easily run into her. She's in the hotel, so you can pop round if you like.
Yeah, I should just go knock on her door and say hi, or rather, hello.
she is she's up and about and happy to see you. And she seems in much better spirits than the last few times.
Good. Good. I'll just say so, Mr. Laskin.
She says, "Oh well, I've been introduced, and he has been very chivalrous, and I think we see eye to eye on many things. And we are. I will be joining him after his work with the tour party has been done today, for this evening's celebrations. Yes, I am very pleased to have met his acquaintance, and it's a relief that not all young men are so over enamored with the Soviet state. There is more to life, and she seems quite happy about it all, basically. Yeah.
Oh, good. I'll just sort of say, so we have made contact with Mr. Weston. If you were to want to travel out of the country, he can get you travel papers to the border, but after that it would be proper defection, and you would never be able to come back. And potentially it would be, I'm going to say this very quietly just so that no one's under any misunderstandings as to what may or may not happen. And I just say, so yes. I just need to know whether that's something that you really want right now.
No, it was a fantasy, and I thought I had feelings for your friend Maxime, but I realized that was just escape. It was just an escape, and there was no depth to it. And so I think he did me a favor by telling me he was already married, and allowed me to then open my eyes to see what was already there. And I'm content that I can find happiness in Russia, and perhaps it is my duty to work within to end this silly nonsense of Sovietism.
Well, I'm very pleased to see you happy, my dear, and anything that I can do to welcome the ballerinas of Moscow to London, just say, and I shall endeavour to maintain good relationships between our two countries.
Well,
and,
yes, we
shall
would
embrace
definitely
her and then leg it.
Keep in touch, and then you leg it. That sounds good. Okay, fair enough. Okay, so is anyone wanting to do anything before you meet with Laskin? I mean, Weston.
I mean,
no.
Kind of need warmer clothes, but it's not like anyone's going to be open at the moment.
Not really.
Heading off somewhere in the random direction of Siberia.
Unless you got any, clever idea of how you could get some clothes without.
I am not breaking into a clothing store.
We have a wonderful concierge. I mean, I know he's not Evgeny, but that's what concierge is for. We shall go and yeah. Let's talk to our concierge.
Mm-hmm. Yes, perhaps they have a winter uniform.
Or pulling strings to get things after hours. That's what they do.
Yes, let's go and see Alexander and see if he can sort us out with some warmer kit.
Okay, so you can find Alexander. You do notice that Ivanov, your new tour guide, is sitting in the lobby. He's not like sat next to not sat next to Alexander, but he is in the lobby. So potentially could overhear if you're not too discreet, but certainly you can go
discreet. I mean, we can still sort of like spin it as the fact that we don't have warm enough clothes for Moscow, but we'd read because we're suffering, obviously, being weak, pathetic British people, not English, Welsh.
What he says he says getting things today may be a little difficult, but he will endeavour to do his best. What is it that you require?
Oh, nice warm coats, good warm hats. Those fur ones look quite good.
Boots.
Big mittens would be good. And some sturdy boots would also be really rather handy if you could, get hold of some of those for each of us.
Right. And are you all there, or are you someone gone down with a
Oh.
shopping list?
I'm assuming I've gone down with the shopping list.
So you have
Sort
all
of
the
rough
correct
measurements.
sizes.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Okay. What are you doing in terms of, are you offering money now or later, or what you want to do?
I will give him I will give him some cash. Well, I will ask him roughly how much he thinks it's going to be, and then I will give him half of that.
He says, "Oh, well, lots of shops are shut, and it's hard, and the celebrations are going to have to grease a few wheels here. How long is a piece of string?" He says in a jolly voice.
Okay, bung him a decent amount of money, not enough to leave me short, obviously, but I'm
Okay.
and ask him for a receipt.
Are you giving it him
This is
in
going
are you giving
on
him in Russian notes or English?
Now, Yevgeny preferred English, didn't he?
He did.
I will ask him what he prefers, which will be more useful to him.
He says a bit of both would be ideal, but more of your English pounds would be very good.
Can do that. We can do that.
Okay, so
what
100 quid, 50 quid? What are you talking? $5 to a pound, this currency.
How much is a winter coat?
Oh, well, a winter coat is a good one. It's gonna be a tenner to 20 quid,
Yeah, give him
or more.
50 quid and basically tell him that I'll give him more once he's I'll
give him more.
Give him a bit more once we've got the stuff.
And you want this by
dinner time, please, this evening.
Dinner time? Have you got any more on you? Because
yeah, okay, bung him a
give
bit.
Him be like
bung him another 20
3-4 hours. So he's got £70 to get you all 4 of you kitted out. Okay.
No, I will give him a bit more afterwards.
Okay, then, Francis, can I have a look roll from you, then, please, as you are handling this on behalf of the group?
Procurement officer. What's my look? Actually, my look's still not too bad. Come on, now dice. So we're going to be good this week. We're not going to play silly beggars, are we, for the first roll? We are going to play silly buggers for the first roll. I've missed it by 3.
Oh, 10 pence
You
short.
can't spend luck on a luck roll.
Okay, so I'm just going to write failed here, and then we'll see what happens later. Okay, he goes off to do that then. Fine. Okay, right. Okay, so you pass the morning. Weston sort of said you're probably going to have to leave sometime today, this evening kind of thing. So you certainly have, a couple of hours or so to have a think about what are you taking with you on this clandestine spying mission. Are you taking everything you brought with you, or your suitcases and everything? Are you, packing lightly? What are you definitely taking with you, I guess, is to have a think about. And you can
are we likely to make it back to Moscow, really?
It's unlikely, but it does. We could decide what message we want to send. If we want them looking for us in Moscow and we don't take very much, it's like we've gone missing here, like something happened to us.
That's true.
Yes.
That is actually quite a sensible suggestion.
Could
we
give
also
Alexander instructions where to send our things?
Rather than Alexander, I think we co-opt Miss What's-Her-Face, Weston's assistant.
Oh, that's a good idea. She was very helpful, wasn't she? Very efficient.
So as in when we need our stuff, we can get her to ship it out
Forward
for
it
us.
on.
Well, it's just clothes I bought for this trip, really, plus a few books. So it's nothing that can't be lost. I don't know about you.
Well, no, but I do have some of my favourite shoes.
Yes, we have all our books as well that are very heavy and bulky.
I'm definitely not
Unless
going
anybody
without
wants
my
to hit
camera.
anybody with them.
I mean, I can travel light so long as I have my sketchbook. I shan't be leaving that behind.
Well, that would be quite useful for more evidence if they need it. But things like books and
Oh,
a lot
what
of
if
things
you
I
had
can
a
leave behind.
camera? We'll need the camera for the slaves.
Oh yes, I've got the camera. I will
Yes,
not be
yes.
leaving the camera behind.
Definitely.
I'll take my
Yes.
maps. Although,
And all your warm clothes.
Yes.
should we bring many changes of clothes?
Well, hopefully we'll be getting some really suitable warm clothes from Alexander. So that means that we don't have to take as much of what we already have, which again will sell the lie that we haven't gone far and we're still somewhere nearby.
How
Mhm.
how far away is this lake? Is it a day's travel, 2 days travel?
We've got to go back to Leningrad, haven't we, and then up?
Yes.
You do have to go back to Leningrad. You think it's certainly, and that was a fair journey. So it's going to be a few hours, certainly at least a day, if not a bit more.
That gives
Judging
us the
from your
opportunity
maps.
to shop for clothes in Leningrad.
So we definitely need at least two, I'd say at least 2 overnights worth of stuff. That's
Why don't we
fine.
buy clothes in Leningrad before we go out up north to the lake?
Well, hopefully I've already got that in hand.
Yes, but I do agree with Eleanor in that if we're traveling quite light anyway, in cold conditions, it's good to take layers. So
It depends on how much time we're going to have in Leningrad.
yes,
And
that's
whether
true.
it's going to be a good idea to hang around in Leningrad before we head off.
Well, let's see what Alexander can get for us. We may have to add extra things anyway.
This is true.
At least if we've got some basics, we can, yeah.
So can I just clarify? You are going to pack relatively lightly.
Yeah.
Yes.
You are going to. So what I'm not sure where you concluded on is, are you going to leave your other stuff just in the room as if you're still living there? Are you going to pack it up and try and give it to the concierge or Western or whatever? What's your plan with your other stuff?
I think the plan is that we leave it to look as if we're still there, so it looks like we've vanished in Moscow.
Yeah.
Or something's happened to us in Moscow, but we give instructions to Weston's assistant that as and when it
Katia.
becomes appropriate, pack it all up and ship it out.
Okay.
Ship it back to us, yeah.
Ship it back, yeah.
In England. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's the plan. Okay, cool. All right. Well, you spent the morning, umming and ahhing over what layers to take. You head over to room 237 to make your appointment with Weston around lunchtime. He's smart as ever, but there are dark circles under his eyes, you note, and you would guess that he hasn't had much sleep, if any at all. He offers you a whiskey as you come in. He's already got one. And he also slices up a large pork pie that is actually from Fortnum and Mason's. He must have brought with him. And offers that round.
Capital.
Everybody loves a hamper.
I miss this.
There's posh.
You can see he's got a little hamper from them. Actually, you can see there's some piccalilli, a little trove of canned food, some peaches and pears, condensed milk, and as he's kind of making pleasantries, he says, "How are you? So how are you finding Russia?"
Turbulent.
Unusual.
Secret police were quite a shock.
Yes, I mean, the art is magnificent. There is some wonderful culture here, and most of the people are absolutely lovely. But the whole being watched and trailed is it's not very British.
No, indeed. No,
Francis
it's a
tries
little.
desperately not to laugh at that point.
He says it does seem a somewhat dangerous project, this Soviet idea, but he can't help kind of respect that there are slithers of kind of optimism and progression that you can't help but see in that the advance to industrialization can only benefit the country overall in time, and moving from archaic farming practices and all that kind of thing. He says this surely will benefit everyone in this land, and opportunities for all, and women in society, and so on. He says these are all interesting things within this grand experiment. One can't help but admire parts of it, as I say. But as you say, there is the other side to things that's more uncomfortable, I think. But he says, I must move on. There is plenty to talk about. Now, I have set wheels in motion that now will be difficult to stop. I mentioned to you yesterday that I thought you may need to leave tonight, and that is indeed the case. Now, I have some instructions for you, which I need you to commit to memory. There can be no record of this, for any record is liable to get you into trouble. And then he goes on to say, leave your hotel tonight about 8 o'clock. Take as little luggage as you can and walk out as though you're going out for the evening. You don't want to alert any OGPU informants. But with all the fuss in Red Square, that's a great cover. Walk 5 minutes west from the hotel before taking a taxi cab back the other way to the October railway station. You'll have reserved tickets waiting for you at the station in your names for the 9 o'clock train from Moscow to Leningrad.
By our names?
You arrive in your, yes, don't worry, they won't know you're heading there. It's only reserved in the ticket office, and there's a contact of mine there. You're safe, in other words. You take the train from Moscow to Leningrad. You'll arrive Leningrad on Friday morning at 10 a.m. Travel straight across town to the Finland station. From there, there's a service once daily to Murmansk. It leaves at 11:30 a.m. That gives you an hour and a half to travel across the city. Again, reserved tickets will be in your name at the station, and you'll be in the sleeping car. It will be even colder where you're going, and you should just have time to stop off and buy some warm clothes, good boots and such as you'll need. The train travels through to Medvedzya Goria on the northern tip of Lake Onega. Get off there. That's around 550 kilometers and 14 hours from Leningrad. He sketches you a little map, which is a very, very much a simple sketch map, which I'll share with you later. But basically, it shows a line going northwards, and then a big circle that says lake, and then just north of the lake is the town of Medvedzya Gora, which is where you're heading to. So he says that's the travel. Now the cover, you're hikers. You've been in Leningrad, then Moscow. Now you're using Medvedzya Gora as your base for a week or so. You want to see the other side of Russia, this beautiful country, this vast open forests. You admire the Soviet Union, and you will be returning home from Leningrad in 2 to 3 weeks. Your visas allow this. Carry your passports and visas with you at all times. You'll be arriving in Medvedya Gora on Saturday around 1:30 in the middle of the night. 2 kilometers north of the railway station is Zahinsky Colony, which is a camp and is a fishing community and camp just north of the Lake Onega. There is a man there called Oleg Blilum. Oleg Blilum. He is no friend of the Bolsheviks. It's late in the season, but Blilum will find cabins for you. We will tell him that you are coming and he will expect you. Now, the Labour camp we think is very close by. About 15 miles to the east from the station is the district town of Povinets. He adds that to the little drawing. We've had our own engineers looking, and the canal could well start there, linking the various existing bodies of water. And if Palliser is visiting Medvedya Gora regularly, that's the most convenient place for him, and not the town of Petrovostok, which is the larger town to the west side of the lake. I don't recommend walking east from your base. It's not surprising that the camp like that would stay hidden forever. The lake is enormous, nearly 100,000 square kilometers, without counting the 1,500 islands. It's bigger than Kent and Sussex and Surrey combined. I think you'll be there for about 4 or 5 days. You probably need to meet Palliser at least once, maybe twice. Of course, he's not expecting to meet you, and he'll be a little thrown because he's hoping to see his wife. You can assure him that he's not facing any official music back home in England. Quite the reverse, if he can shine a light on what's happening over there. Don't use the service's name or anyone else's name, but you can say to him only that you are officially talking for the Foreign Office. He then looks back at the map and says, right, that's getting you there and getting you talking to Palliser and hopefully getting him to come with you. But we have to get you out as well. The Murmansk train back to Leningrad is at least once daily passing through Medvedya Gora at 9 o'clock in the evening. You can find local trains more often. On the way back, get off at Zavanka here, and he points on this little map. That's still a journey of about 10 hours out, so you won't be there till early morning. From Zavanka, take a steamer down the river to the town of Novaya Lagoda on Lake Ladoga. Your story is still the same. You're hiking. Go to the Klimentovskaya church and ask for Ian Becker. Tell him that
You sure
Vera...
we can't write any of this down?
Well,
I'm trying. I'm out of character at least anyway, as fast as I can.
I shall never remember all of this, Mr. West.
Well, you have to try. Don't write it down. Tell him that Vera needs a final delivery. He'll know what you are looking for and what you need. He knows me. He then looks around you and makes sure that you're all paying attention. And he says, you're getting all this, aren't you? Yes. Nods. The name of the church, Klimentovskaya.
Vera needs something.
And Vera needs a final delivery.
Vera needs a final delivery, I remembered. But and where is this church?
Ian Becker.
So this is in Zavanka.
I have a visual memory. I'll be able to draw you the church once I've been there.
Yeah.
I thought Zavanka was where we were catching the train to and then getting a steamer to somewhere else.
So you get the Murmansk train, which passes through Medvedya Gora, and on the way, you get off at Zavanka.
Yes.
That's 10 hours in the journey. From
Yes, then
Zavanka, you
catch a
take a
boat.
steamer down the river to the town of Novaya Ladoga, which is on Lake Ladoga. That's where you
And
go
that's
to
where
the
the
church.
church is.
Yeah, so you're caught up
Novaya.
now. He then continues. Finland surrounds the top half of the lake, and Becker is a good man. He'll get you there. And the Finns, they're no friends to the Russians. You can speak to our ambassador there. We'll tell him to be on his toes and that something will be happening. And sorry, I'm just trying to navigate between some notes and what I tell you. Okay, so you basically go and find the ambassador in Finland, and then he'll get you home. Basically, that's the long and the short of it. So now that you have all of that, any questions?
Could you just go through it one more time?
5 miles or 5 minutes west, and which way's west?
You've got a map, so he shows you, if you get your proper map out, he'll show you on the map exactly. So you're all good. And of course, I would not ever make you have to remember this as players ever. I would never do that, would I?
I don't care. I have it written down because I
wouldn't
know
ever make you make luck rolls to remember where you're supposed to be.
Yeah, you would.
So you basically, the main point being, make sure you carry your visas and your passports with you at all times. Try and throw anyone off this evening when you go to the train, like you're just going out for a drink. Get some clothing on the way. Get to the lake, go 2 miles north to meet his contact Billum there, who will sort you out. Billum can then direct you to where, to places in Mededzva and where the camp may be. Or well, if you can meet with Palliser, he can tell you where the camp is. So you're all good. Anything else you need to know?
I'm assuming somebody will be taking care of our luggage then that we leave behind.
Well, we'll do our best. We'll do our best with that. Obviously, I imagine that the OGPU will at some point discover you are missing, and they will go through whatever you leave behind in the hotel. So make it look, as authentic as possible. And we may at some point be able to get hold of what you've left behind. But I can't make any promises. But you
Maxime,
will be
that means we're going to have to leave our shaving kit behind.
Compensated as need be.
Oh, for goodness sake.
Well, nothing says they've gone on a runner than men taking their shaving kit with them.
Surely hikers shave out in the wild as well?
Yes, but the people in Moscow don't know that we're going to be hikers. We're trying to keep them focused on Moscow for as long as possible. And if we take our shaving kit with us, that's going to be very obvious that we're not still here.
Now, the other thing I need to ensure you have firmly fixed in your heads is it's important that we've never met. You can't be seen as agents in anything larger at all. The OGPU loves finding spies, real or not, so nothing of this should be found on you. No guns, for heaven's sake, although I'm sure I don't need to say that. As hikers, you can have maps, compasses, if you need them. Add a push, a camera or two, but just be careful. They will look at the cameras and film if they catch up with you in any way. From the moment you have Palliser with you, if you do, that's the point of greatest risk. Have a change of clothing for him, of course, and if he can at least be seen to travel separately away from you on the train, and in Zavanka and onwards, that would offer some protection for both of you. you should be over the border within a day after taking him. You know, with fair sailing, you know, no problem at all. You should be ahead of anyone before they even, you know, realize you're, you know, where you are, let alone what you're doing. So there should be no physical or threats to you in any way. It should just be in and out, easy peasy, he says with a smile slightly.
Yes, and Francis is fixing him with what will, in several years' time, become known as a Paddington hard stare.
What if Mr. Palliser really doesn't want to come with us and is very happy where he is and alerts authorities immediately?
Then we tell him his wife is coming back with us.
Well,
good thinking.
Ultimately, it's Palliser's choice whether he comes back with you or not. We would prefer that he did, but it is his choice. And I don't believe Palliser, being an English gentleman, after all, would bring disaster on your own heads for simply trying to make him an offer. I believe you are safe, despite his, you know, previous defection, that he will not, you know, he'll not reveal your identities in this manner. I think we can be. I think we can be safe on a gentleman's word there.
Not entirely convinced, considering the guy's a bigamist, but you know.
Is everyone else looking as unconvinced as I feel?
Oh yeah.
I shall exchange glances with Eleanor when that sort of slight eyebrow raised kind of.
You've been with Weston a little bit now, you know, in terms of met him a few times. If somebody does want to make a psychology roll, you know, just sort of gauge.
Why not?
Oh,
gauge him a little more.
Oh wow!
Based on your knowledge.
Is that a good wow or a bad wow?
That's an extreme success.
Well wow!
Your razor sharp perception kicks in, and you know that he's definitely being, you know, 100% sincere in what he's saying to you. However, you do get the impression that perhaps he is underplaying the danger a little, maybe as to avoid scaring you. And obviously, you know, the reason being he wants you to do this and not to run away. But you do get.
We've got our own reasons for doing it, so.
You know, yeah. So yeah, but you know, it's not that that's particularly surprising, I'm sure, but you know, you do get the impression that you know, he's doing his best to make this as easy for you, while trying to tell you that it isn't simple, but it shouldn't be too dangerous. But perhaps it is a little more dangerous than he's actually letting on. You know, in that way. But without further ado, he says, "So there you have it. My best wishes and Godspeed to you, and all things being even, I will see you in London in a few weeks' time."
Indeed.
And on behalf of the Queen, half of the King, I you know, thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, for Her Majesty.
That is there.
And then you know.
I'm confused. I think I've got Russian spies here. All this for Her Majesty. 1926.
It's too early.
His Majesty.
His Majesty. You finish your remains of pork pie and whiskey, and he you know, gently removes you from the room with a, you know, you better get ready. See you soon.
I'm so unconvinced by this.
Yeah, this is dodgy. This is so dodgy.
There's lots of holes in this plan.
I don't like that he used our own names for the train tickets.
Well, I
No.
can understand why to some extent, because if we do get caught, it's going to be a lot harder to explain why we're travelling under assumed names, but our papers don't match them. But yes, I think I would have been much happier if he just already had the tickets and we had them with us so that we could just go to the station. We didn't have to pick them up.
Yeah. Oh well. You've only got to pick them up. There won't be. Surely there can't be any problem that would happen in picking some train tickets up from the station.
No.
It'll all be very smooth, I'm sure.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. I mean, if Alexander can just send the coats, boots, and hats to the train station as well, we'll be sorted.
That is
I think we need to
something
do
of
that,
a loose
actually,
end.
definitely.
I'm a
Yes.
little concerned that the concierge will know where we've gone, or that we've gone somewhere cold.
Well, I mean, to be fair, the clothes we're currently wearing aren't quite warm enough for Moscow. So hopefully it will be more a case of, oh, the stupid British people didn't pack warm enough. Now they need some new stuff because they're freezing.
Souvenir hats.
Oh, definitely. I mean, we did pack warm enough for Leningrad, but we just didn't quite pack warm enough for Moscow when we're feeling the cold a bit.
Especially evening
Yes.
celebrations. Oh, it's dreadfully thin, but we shall have to make the most of it.
Okay,
We
so
weren't exactly given enough time to come up with a plausible excuse.
so by the time you've digested Weston's info and digested some lunch, Alexandra appears with a I have some of the items you requested. Do you want me to bring them out to you, or have them taken to your rooms?
Have them sent to my room, please, but we may need to organise you sending them on somewhere else afterwards. I just want to check to make sure they're all what we need.
Very good. He arranges that. When you get up to your room, you find he's managed to find 4, winter coats that more or less fit you. More or less, not perfect, but they are more or less reasonable fit. Big kind of well, you'd liken them to kind of trench coats to some degree. Certainly do the business, you think. There are 4 fur hats, classic Russian style. And he's only managed to come up with 3 pairs of boots. Unfortunately, there's a pair for everyone except Francis, which is maybe a consequence of failing a luck roll. I'm not sure.
Never mind.
But
I
unfortunately,
did buy some sturdy boots for coming over with, so they'll just have to do. I'll just have to wear more socks.
Just have to do. Unfortunately, no mittens to be had within the time that you that he had to find them.
Well, I mean, he's done a sterling job, and give him a tip, and then ask him to see if he can get them sent to the train station for us to collect.
No,
all right. So, you sure?
Well, we can either go out wearing them.
Well, they're only winter coats, aren't they? They're not great big they're not huge, furry, I'm about to climb Everest coats. They're just
actually, it would make some sense if we left at least the hats behind. We would just put the coats on to go out because we were feeling cold, but actually it wasn't so cold we needed the hats. And then we'll pick up more hats on the way.
Oh, I'm taking my hat. I like my hat. You can leave
Well,
your
I'm just
hat if
saying
you want. I'm taking.
I'm just saying
in an inside pocket. These things will have inside pockets. You can stick your hat in.
I'm just saying it'd be more believable if some of the things were left.
I want
if
to
you
take
want to
my
leave it,
hat.
you leave it. I'm taking my hat.
I don't. It's not that I don't trust anyone at this point. I shall be strapping my bread knife to my back as usual, putting a winter coat on, and yeah.
Okay.
Are hats quite distinctive?
Well, they're they're big
furry hats.
Big furry hats.
The same as everybody else wears.
They got you can undo them, and they got the earmuffs, that do under your chin.
Yeah. I'm not leaving that behind. That's far too good. Who knows what will happen in Leningrad? We might get arrested before we get anywhere.
If you want, Eleanor, I could keep a hold of your hat.
No, it's not about not wearing the hat. I'm saying if we leave something behind, like we've left it deliberately behind because we were just going out that night, it's not that cold, but it throws them off the scent in the sense of this new stuff we got was just what we're wearing, rather than us preparing to go somewhere cold. That's what I was saying.
Like you said, if you want to leave your hat behind, you can leave your hat behind. Said,
yes, okay.
Even if we're going out for the evening, I want my ears to be warm.
Yes, because we're all going to be outside in Red Square dancing, obviously, after our drink.
There must be fireworks this evening.
Hat controversy averted. We can move forward. So just checking. So Georgina is taking a kitchen knife and homemade scabbard. Francis is taking the very special pen knife that never leaves your side. Are you taking your truncheon?
Oh, yes.
Are you taking camera and film?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I want to take photos of the fireworks.
Georgina and Eleanor, are you taking your extensive maps of Russia with you?
Yes, I'm taking my map of Russia, my road guide to Russia. Actually, no. I'll leave the map of Russia. I'll use the road guide because then it's... Oh, I've left my map behind.
Okay.
So I'll just take my road guide to Russia and I'll survive with that because it's still got, stuff.
Okay.
And I'm also taking with me a dog-eared copy of D.H. Lawrence's Sons and Lovers because I refuse to leave it behind.
Yeah.
Oh.
Georgina, are you taking anything else of note?
Notebook, sketchbook, pencil, my necklace that Robert gave me. Obviously, that never comes off. Bread knife strapped to my back, as always, and lots of layers, and all my socks.
Okay, and
my notebook.
And your notebook, and not travel typewriter though.
No, I'll leave it here. In fact, I'll type out half a page.
Okay, nice. And Maxime, anything particular? You're taking your sword stick, I guess.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Hiking. You've got to have a stick when you're hiking. I could probably leave the opera glasses behind.
Oh no, I'm going to take my opera glasses because they might be useful for staring at a distance.
That's true.
Yeah, because spies wouldn't carry anything like that, so I'm sure that'll be fine.
No, but bird watchers, hikers, bird watchers would definitely carry glasses too.
Of course they would. Yes, I believe you. Anything else, Maxime?
Well, fortunately, most of my treasured possessions are rather small, except for my supercharged touring car, which I left in London anyway. No, I mean, I wondered about taking a guidebook for Leningrad, but that will probably arouse suspicion should our rooms be searched. If they know that is missing as opposed to anything else.
Mm-hmm.
So probably not, no.
Okay.
Reluctantly leaving my shaving kit behind.
Yeah. Are you packing a couple of, sneaky razor blades in with your toiletries, or are you just leaving them all there?
No, I'll leave them all there and see if I can pick up another one. They can't be that much.
Brave decision. Okay, good. So the rest of the day, apart from, umming and ahhing of what actually goes into that can fit in the pocket of a greatcoat, are you just chilling in the hotel and making a scene later? Now you're going out on the town, or are you going out earlier to Red Square, or what are you doing for the rest of the day before you got to leave?
I would probably
Eating
try
as
and
much food as you can to get it, stock up, or
eat quite a lot of food to stock up, like you said. Probably play cards or chess with somebody.
Yeah.
Just have an easy
I think
day.
I'm going to head back out to Red Square and just take in the sights. Maybe take 1 or 2 photos so that it's not going to look as odd when I take the camera back out again in the evening.
Yeah.
So I've taken some during the day, and then obviously, I'm just going back out to get some sort of similar shots at night time.
Okay.
And then just, once everything's sorted, and then once I've had a bit of a wander around Red Square, be oohing and ahhing as a tourist, head back to the hotel for dinner.
Okay. And Georgina and Eleanor, are you hotel or going out, or?
I'm going to
I think
stay
I'm
in
going
the
to have
hotel.
one last look around the square.
You're going to have a last with Francis or on your own?
Yeah, with Francis.
Okay. And Eleanor?
I'm going to have a few drinks in the hotel bar, and after a few drinks, I'll act a little more drunk than I really am, a little bit louder.
Okay. Okay.
Because I'm paranoid now.
Okay, fine. Okay. Okay, so you have two of you have a relatively quiet afternoon. Georgina and Francis obviously pop along the street towards Red Square. It's very difficult to get into Red Square. You can, but it's a lot of people and a lot of things going on, and marching bands and flags waving and people and dancing and all sorts of things. And in fact, when you sort of are making your way back to the hotel, you actually run into Oksana, who is also on her way back to the hotel, and she's saying that she have you been to Red Square? Did you see Stalin? Which of course you missed because you weren't there. But she says, yeah, Stalin came up standing on his balcony waving with his lackeys. Gonna tell Laskin all about it when I see him.
The survival instincts of a not very survival oriented thing, that girl.
I think she and Laskin will have a wonderful time subverting the revolution from the inside.
As you kind of come into the hotel's lobby, you see Popov, who is clearly not long returned himself, and he comes over and says, I was looking for you. I didn't see you. Did you? I think I must have lost you in Red Square. I didn't see you at all. Were you there?
Yes. I was
Yes.
trying to get a couple of photographs of the celebrations because it's all very jolly.
Yes. It was all happening, wasn't it? What did you think to it all?
Well, it was just a tremendous show of people, wasn't it?
It makes one proud, doesn't it, to see a nation, a youthful nation coming together, celebrating the advancement of a society from the dark ages to the light. Yes.
Well, yes, I'd say it probably does. Yes.
Bit more practice, you'll get there.
He asks a few kind of pointed questions, like so did you see the dancers on each other's shoulders throwing balls in the air and all that kind of thing? He asks a few kind of questions that you kind of have to guess whether you did or didn't see them. It seems like he's testing you.
Well, I mean, I'm telling you the truth because if I saw jugglers standing on people's shoulders juggling balls, it was like, I'll tell him, but otherwise, I will be honest and go, well, if I missed things, because there were an awful lot of people there and it was very hard to see stuff.
Right. Okay. So you just sort of play that. Okay, that's cool. Yeah. He kind of nods and says, "Oh yeah, well yeah, there was a lot going on, Will you be coming back out tonight with us to the evening celebrations?"
Yes, I'd like to see those.
Very good. Well, we're meeting. We're meeting in the lobby at 8 o'clock. I'll see you there.
Lovely, thank you. Yes.
You see Ivanov walking in, but I guess you run off at that point, avoid having the same conversation again. Okay, so how do you want to play this evening?
What time did Weston say to leave?
You've got to leave at 8 o'clock. Yeah.
Okay, but that's the same time as the party's leaving with all the OGPU. So should we go at 7:30?
Well, now we've told them that we're going to go with them.
Oh,
Well, it
it's
doesn't
okay.
matter.
We'll
We're
just-
going
we'll
to be
just,
missing.
Tip Alexander some money and say that we got, we finished dinner early and we got, wanted to get ahead of the crowd to try and get a better view than we had this afternoon. So we've already gone out and we'll hopefully bump into them in the square.
Okay.
And if somebody else could actually pay Alexander, because I gave him rather a lot of money
I
this
don't
afternoon.
think we need
All
to
right, yes,
pay him
yes.
at all, do we? This is just what we're doing.
Yeah, but we want to make sure that the message gets across.
I think if he's
Never
being
any harm in giving
interrogated,
Alexander a tip.
there's no harm in giving him a tip, but
I'll let him know anyway.
Folded rubles
When we're about to leave, I'll let him know.
Yeah, so we're all heading off at 7:30 then on our
7:30.
stroll to Red Square.
Yes.
To look at the
Stroll to Red Square.
celebrations.
There are earlier in the evening. You do start hearing fireworks coming from Red Square, and
She'll make a
it
show of
doesn't take
getting
you long
quite excited.
to figure out that there are a number of you see Grace Mallory kind of he maybe knocks on Georgina's door to say, are you coming to the fireworks? This is probably around 6 o'clock in the evening.
I've just had the most terrible thought. Is Red Square to the west of here? I mean, are we going to walk the wrong way? Well, I don't know which way's west, but no. What if it's not believable?
It'll be fine. I mean, leaving a bit earlier because of the crowd gives us a bit more time, actually.
I think you're
hopefully will
walking
help.
towards Red Square, but you're going to get taxis back the other way.
The
This
other way.
Weston's plan.
That's a relief.
Pity if it's still full of people all being happy and marching around in furry coats.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the streets are full.
Yeah. So we're going to blend in anyway. No, we're just,
Precisely.
yeah.
That's all cool. The fireworks finish around about 7 o'clock. And so a lot of the tour group is out, obviously watching the fireworks with Ivanov and Laskin. And then Popov is going to take some people out, later in the evening for, kind of after do kind of things going on around the city, around the square. So you depart in between all that around 7:30. And are you following Weston's plan? Are you going to walk towards Red Square, get a taxi, go back the other way to the train
Well, we're
station?
half
or
I
hour
am also
early.
going to check to make sure that there is nobody following us. I mean, if it's really busy in the square, it might take us a bit longer to get a taxi.
And the traffic surely as well will be
Mhm.
quite busy. So I don't see anything wrong with leaving a bit earlier.
So spot hidden to make sure we're not being followed.
Yeah, if you like.
God, the dice hate me tonight. No.
Let me have a little look. No, I'd be happily oblivious if
Not quite.
See, I'm so nervous they all look the same.
I was
Well, as
behind.
you go out, you look around, you can't see anyone. But Vasily, the hotel receptionist, sees you and bids you an enjoyable night out tonight. Asks, are you heading back towards the square?
Oh yes.
Oh,
Looking quite
yes.
forward to seeing this evening's entertainment.
We're
And
trying to
Today
beat
was
the
anything
rush
to
a
go
bit,
by.
Alexander obviously catches you on the way out, saying, just be careful if you're out too late. There are, the celebrations bring in many people from the countryside. Not all of them are decent folk, as you would say. Keep your bags and wallets close.
Oh, thank
Very
you.
good advice.
And sees you out the door, kind of thing.
Mm.
So you then head off and get the taxi. Walk and get taxi. That
Mhm.
yeah. Okay, just checking in case you're deviating from the plan. Okay, you grab the taxi and head over to the station. And right, I've lost my place. And here we go. And indeed, there are tickets waiting for you at the train station. They're just an envelope with one of your names written on it, but it has enough tickets for you all inside. And at the October railway station, and you have the 9 o'clock train to Leningrad. So unless you're doing anything other than jumping on that train now, that's what happens.
Question. Sophia?
Mm.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
hell yes.
Yeah.
Presumably she
just
will.
for the
Yeah,
last
we completely
half
forgot to see,
session.
didn't we?
So, that's a very
You did
good
remember to
point,
take her.
Eleanor.
Okay, good.
You did remember to take her, yeah? I'm
I
assuming
hope so.
you did.
Yeah, we did. We
Okay,
definitely did.
yeah,
We totally did.
Yeah. Luckily, of course, you reminded Weston earlier about that Sophia was going with you the previous
Absolutely,
meeting.
yes.
So he had arranged tickets for her as well, as you didn't tell him any different this time. So we will, say that happens just fine. And you get on the train. And with that, shall we take a quick tea break?
That sounds like an
Okay.
excellent plan.
Sounds like a plan. Okay, so we'll be back, everyone, in about 5 or 10 minutes or so after a quick tea break. So go and have a cup of tea, everyone. See you in a minute. And we're here. Okay, so into the second half we are. So we are now on the train from Moscow to Leningrad. And during this train journey, you get a bit of time to yourselves to reflect. And there are some rewards for the things you have achieved so far.
Ooh.
So, who accepted the crucifix from Nadezhda Palliser to give to her husband?
Georgina, wasn't it?
I can't remember.
That come out?
Definitely wasn't me.
I think it may have been Georgina.
I think it was Georgina.
I thought it was Francis, but obviously it's not. So
Well, I'll double check. Hang on, I have copious notes.
I didn't write it down because I was being.
Was that week
Right.
6? That was a couple of weeks ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I was definitely the one that was most concerned about her.
Yes. Well, in that case, I'm going to split the difference and give Francis and Georgina +1 sanity for that.
Yeah, because I haven't. I've just said she asks us to give her husband a silver crucifix.
Precious sanity, thank you.
You all get +2 sanity points for finding the hidden information in what's his face's room in Moscow.
Oh gosh, 3 sanity! Wow.
I want to say Zarkov, but that's not who it is.
No, you're
Krylov.
thinking of an entirely different.
Krylov. Too many Russian names in my head at the minute. Krylov's 2 sanity points for that. And I think I can award you all +1 sanity point for making a good impression on Mr. Weston.
Oh,
Ooh.
You did make a good
There's
impression on us.
lovely.
You held
Not
back from
that
talking
true.
about ghosts and monsters in lakes and all that kind of thing. So hence why you made a good impression.
Sweet.
And
I
I'm
take
going to
it I've
give.
got all my hit points back as well now, seeing as we've not been getting into fisticuffs and things.
How many were you down?
2.
Yeah, you got them back now. You should all be back on full hit
Mm.
points.
Down 1. So yeah, okay.
All back on full. And Maxime, I'm going to award you 4 sanity points for your interactions with Oksana. And I'm going to award +1 sanity point for Francis for setting Oksana up with Laskin.
Oh.
Thank you very much.
Love for the win. Arts, etc.
So, okay, so the first leg of the journey to Leningrad, the train is an express. It only makes 3 stops on the long journey, which are a couple of hours at Tver, a provincial town. There's also Vyshny Volotok, which is a district town, and then there's Volkovo. These are all, unfortunately, at like 1:30 and 4:30 in the morning, so there's not a lot of point getting off to shop for boots and things. And you arrive in Leningrad at 10 in the morning. However, during that nighttime excursion, something happens.
I was going to say, we should change carriage. There were several other people got on the train at the same time as us. They could be OGB. No.
Maybe we should keep watch.
Maybe we should just move carriage, see if they follow.
Oh, that
Other
seems very
people do
sensible
catch
to me.
trains, you know.
You are in a sleeping carriage.
Oh,
Yeah, sure. We
could be a
don't want to
bit
be changing
complicated.
beds.
Oh, right.
While you are, I presume you are trying to sleep to some degree in your own bed things.
Yeah.
Some
Are they
We probably ought to
enclosed?
try and organise some sort of watchy type.
They're kind
thing
of,
just to be on the safe
you've
side.
got kind of semi-enclosed ones. Yeah, you kind of like sharing I guess the 4 of you are sharing a cabin to some degree, we'll say.
Yeah. So presumably there's like a door.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Then yes, I would agree. Definitely, we need somebody to keep watch, or rather, keep their ears out. If there's a door,
Well, we could
wouldn't be able
take
to sleep in the
turns. We could
corridor.
each take 2 hours.
All right.
I'm far too wound up to sleep. I'll go first.
What you need down is a stiff drink.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So
So-
Eleanor's first. Who's next?
Eleanor's first.
Okay, Francis.
I'll go second. Sorry, chewing into his letter.
I'll take the early morning if that's all right with you, Maxime.
All right. Yes, Francis can wake me.
Okay. Okay. Well, during the first watch, Eleanor, you are joined by Mark, who appears.
I'll step outside the carriage that are in the hallway.
Okay. It's pretty quiet, as you can imagine. He arrives and he says, I came to talk to you about Anna.
Who's Anna?
Anna is at the lake. She talks to us sometimes, and she knows about you. She wanted me to tell you an important message. She needs your help. She says that there are others there, but I'm different. I'm not like the others. And she says it's because of you. She says she has to talk to you, and she was very, very insistent about it.
Oh, I wonder if that's because I... Do you know what she looks like or where she is?
She says you'll be able to find her if you ask for her in Mavedzka Goya.
Mavedzka Goya. I'm sure we're going there at some point. It was one of the place names. They're all a jumble in my head at the moment.
Yeah. Yes. You're supposed to go there, and you're to meet with her. She's very insistent that she needs you. That only well, you and your companions. She saw that Harry chap and told him the same.
Harry must be one of the others' partners.
But you have to speak to her. That was the message I had to tell you. I don't know what it's about, but
I'll whisper in his ears that I'm on my way now.
He said, "Well, that I'm sure that's good. I mean, be careful, won't you?"
Did she say I was different or we are different?
She said I was different.
You were different
because of you.
But was Harry different?
I don't know. Maybe maybe not. She didn't. I just know that she also spoke to him, but I don't know what she told him.
Okay.
I feel you're stronger. I feel. I don't know. I just feel that you're more real than when I saw you in England. It's like you're more real here.
Closer, Mark. I'm getting closer.
And that might be something to do with it. It must be something to do with physical distance or something.
But there's a beast, Mark, in the lake. It's called Hasta. It can't come here, Mark. It can't come. But it's what's bringing us together.
But it will make things permanent. If you're able to bring it here, then it means I can stay with you forever.
I know, Mark, but it can't happen. We had this conversation, didn't we, just a few days ago? Why? Oh God, it's all again. Why?
I don't understand it, but I can only tell you what I know, and there are others. There are others. They make noises, and I don't like them, but there seem to be more of them. There seem more. It's hard not to run into them when I'm back. But
can't ask me to keep you here, Mark.
I'm only telling you what I know. You have to make the decision. I can't. I can only tell you what I know.
It's every person who ever died, and many of them are not what they were when they were alive. Can't bring them back, Mark.
Well, I don't know. Maybe this Anna knows more. Maybe she can tell you how it works, and maybe there's a way to make it that only I come back. Maybe there's a way to just, these others that you talk of, they don't need to come back. It can just be me, perhaps. That would work, wouldn't it? If we could do that.
Mark, if there's a way, I will find it.
I'm sure
oh
you
my
will.
gosh.
I have every confidence in you.
But no, Mark, I I felt the beast. I felt it clawing around me. I felt it's something holding me and pulling at me. It was hell, Mark. It was actual hell.
I think you have to put that out of your mind.
That's Hasta, Mark.
It's just the water carrying you. It's just the water. There is nothing to worry about. I'm sure. And he kind of continues in that vein for a little while, and he kind of changes subject after a while, and kind of he spends it's about an hour with you, and it kind of just gets on to he kind of falls back into his old self to some degree, which is a bit of a respite from all this other stuff, and you just kind of are able to kind of spend more of a happier time in terms of just talking about memories and old times in a much more kind of gentler way. But
the book, show him I've still got it and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and you talk about that kind of stuff, and so you kind of by the time he kind of then disappears, you are actually feeling a bit better. Actually, you've kind of put the other stuff out of your head for a little while, and he kind of was back to his old self for a while. So you do feel a little better about that. And a bit later, Francis, when you are, you're probably woken actually, maybe just before you're due to awake, you get like a tap on your shoulder from Uncle Harry, who's kind of heads through the curtains of your kind of bunk and says, "Are you asleep?"
Well, I'm not now.
Oh, good. I needed to talk to you.
Oh, go on, go climb in. I mean, it's not a lot of room, but
yes. Now we told you about Anna, didn't we?
You did, yes.
She saw me again, and she told me she was very demanding. She said I had to come to you at once and tell you that she must see you as soon as possible. You must travel to her. You must go to. She said she was near to Lake Onega, and that you must go there. You'll find her mother. You find her mother. She said her mother was. It gives you a name, which is sorry, it's just here. Zola.
Well, we are on
Zoya. Sorry, not I, not an L. Zoya. Zoya. You must find Zoya, and she can tell you where Anna is.
Well, we are heading in that direction now, Uncle Harry. So
that's good.
We were intending to see her.
Everything feels like it's coming together. I can sense it. That things are almost clearer, and you seem more real. So that must be a good thing. It must mean you're in the right place.
Well, like you said, we're on our way. We should be there sometime tomorrow, I think, if I remember. So yes, we'll try and find her.
I'll look for you. There are more people about. There's more of us. There's more coming through. I can feel them in the water now. I can feel. It's like I'm in a pool, a sea of swimmers bumping into one another. They all seem. I get the sense they're all very eager. They're all trying to climb out of the water to get onto land. I think only a few of us can do that at the moment. It's it's hard sometimes trying to almost fight my way through to get out. But I know the way, and I've done it enough times now that I can. It's easier to do. But yes. And he kind of, again, he spends about half an hour with you, and again turns on to more mundane subjects about, what do you think is happening back in England? What, and all that kind of stuff. And you have a pleasant kind of conversation to some degree before he again disappears. The rest of the journey to Leningrad is pretty uneventful, and you arrive in Leningrad, and then you have like about an hour or so to get across town. Which do you want to take taxis or do you want to walk it? It's a pretty big place, so.
Well, I'm going to see if I can find somewhere to get a shaving kit.
Okay.
And some
Boots for you.
Okay, so it's Friday, so it's places should be open. So let's have a look roll.
Okay, come on, dice.
Kit rather than boots.
Oh,
Ooh,
most
yes.
definitely not.
That's it's a hard success. It's 2 off a critical success, but of course can't spend luck on luck roll. So
Okay, so you're looking around, and outside the station, and Maxime goes off around one corner, but has no joy. But you kind of go around the other corner, and there is a small establishment that you can pop in and get a few bits from if you like.
yep.
Do they sell boots?
With a luck roll like that, they'd better do.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, I mean, you found a little kind of street of vendors really, and you can pretty much get most of the things you're missing, to be honest. If you want mittens, boots, hats, anything like that you still want, you can pretty much get them all there.
Yep, some nice
unless there's
furry
anything
mittens.
else. Unless there's anything else you're trying to get that you haven't mentioned yet.
No, definitely some nice boots, some good bearskin mittens, and a new shaving kit. And that'll do me nicely.
Okay. Well, you then are you taking a taxi?
Yeah, it's probably going to be safest,
Yeah,
isn't it?
don't want to walk across Leningrad again.
Okay, so you get across relatively easily, and you then pick up the tickets which are waiting for you, and leave Leningrad at Finland Station, and then head towards Zavanka. While you're on that leg of the journey, you carry on, and it carries on till about 3 PM past Kolchanovo, sorry. But around that, as the train is carrying on, around 4 o'clock-ish, there's a small commotion. The train stops and then starts up again. You will get the impression, looking down the kind of corridor, that there is a pair of men who are dressed in kind of not particularly smart suits, but suits, who are seemingly going through the carriages, checking papers.
Of course.
Is that usual, or are they looking for us?
Oh, hard to say.
I don't think there's enough room for all of us to hide in the toilet.
No.
Which, is your standard trick for avoiding ticket collection.
Anything useful at all? Don't really know enough about Russian history to decide whether or not this is normal.
Well,
Do you,
we have
I mean,
two options.
there obviously are, heading towards your carriage. If you have a cunning plan, or if you want to just
Well, we
want to
do
like,
have all our papers.
We do have all our papers. We are allegedly hiking. So we either brazen it out, or we all beat a hasty retreat to the nearest toilet and cram in and wait until they've gone.
okay, well,
But
I
that
need a
doesn't mean that they
decision.
aren't going to catch us on the way back.
No.
Oh, let's brazen it out.
Brazen it out. Okay. Okay, so they knock on your compartment door. They're quite burly men. One has got hands the size of dinner plates, and they have holstered pistols, fur hats, heavy overcoats, and boots. And they say in Russian, papers, basically.
Yes, of course.
Papers.
Do you
Well,
answer
nice.
in Russian or?
Yeah. Russian. Yeah.
You do. Okay. They look at your papers and passports. If you don't give them the passport, they ask for the passport when they figure that you're not Russian. One of them kind of asks everyone the same questions. Really, they kind of ask, what's, where are you headed? What's the purpose of your visit?
See the lovely woodlands, and we're going to go hiking in the forests.
Yes, we've heard about the beautiful lakes and forests up in this, this particular part of the world, and we're really hoping to go and see them and enjoy them.
Okay. As he asks the questions, he has a little red notebook, and you see him writing various things down from your passport and visas in his little notebook. They do that, and then they move on and carry on down the train. Unless you want to do anything else, but other than that, you can leave them to it.
Yeah, I think really it's going to cause more of a problem if they vanish than if we just leave them to get on with it. Because if this is just a routine check, who are they going to report it to? They're just taking a note of who's on the train. Hopefully by the time it gets back to somebody who would know who the heck we are and that we're not supposed to be here, we'll have moved on. And if they are looking for us, then the game's up anyway. So
what if the book didn't get back to the depot later, or offices, spy headquarters, wherever they're going?
Is the train moving, or is it stationary at the moment?
It's moving. From what you can work out with your tickets and the itinerary and everything else, it is. This is between Volkovstroy and Lodenoy Pole, so basically you've got about an hour, well, just under an hour and a half, this leg of the journey between these two stations where these chaps are on the train. Presumably they get off at the next station, you'd guess.
Now, I will say, I'm pretty good with locks, not very good with other people's pockets.
Don't look at me.
If it goes wrong, if we attempt to take the book and it goes wrong, then we are in deep, deep trouble.
Extremely risky.
Yeah, I think it's just too risky to try and get the book off them. Because like you said, if they don't know who we are, we're okay. We've complied with what they want. We haven't drawn attention to ourselves unduly. If we then go and draw attention to ourselves, it's more likely to get back to people that we don't want to know that we're here. And if they are, like I said, they know where we are anyway.
Okay. So you perhaps leave that one be and hope for the best. Which reminds me, I did miss one, maybe significant, maybe not. Don't know. Maxime. Obviously, Sophia is with you.
Yes.
Now, if you remember, I'm sure you do remember precisely everything, exactly what Weston told you about the itinerary.
Absolutely.
You may remember that your return journey in terms of escaping from Russia revolved around getting off at Zavanka.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you do have the option. We could just step back in time very quickly. If you wanted to, you could technically leave Sophia in Zavanka, drop her off the train, and tell her to go and get a lodging somewhere until you turn up.
That would be very
Yes.
sensible.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or
This is
you
way
could
too
take her with you. I
dangerous.
mean, I'm not saying you have to, but I'm just saying that is an option I probably should have mentioned just before the guards came on, but I forgot.
No,
So
I'll definitely
I'm
do
telling
that.
you now.
It'll cause more suspicion anyway if we're hiking up in the the woods with a small child. So
There is a
not
friendly
as-
kind of Russian station master at Zavanka. If you wanted to ask him where in town Sophia could stay, then you may have an idea of where she'll be, or you can, guess it out later. It's up to you. But obviously, that does mean you're telling somebody something.
yeah.
And that's how secret you want to be.
I'm at an impasse.
Well, why don't you just get her to go off? Let's not tell the station master. Why don't we get Sophia
No.
to go off, and then if she comes in every day when the train's coming back the other way, just to see whether we're on it.
Yes, because we know what time train we're supposed to be on, so she can
Yeah.
meet it and we can wave out of the window or not.
Or we'd be getting off here anyway.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
You'll
Yeah.
be getting off in Zavanka, so as long
So
as
if she meets the train that we're supposed to be on,
Yeah.
Oh, perhaps if we can tell her to go to this church, or is that no? That's in
That's somewhere else. No,
Novaya.
we've got to take her
no.
to get there.
I'm concerned for her safety at night.
Well, she's a sensible girl. She survived in Leningrad. I'm sure she'll be fine here.
lock the door.
Part of me now thinks she might be safer with us. Ah, dear.
No.
No, I will leave. I'll ask her to stay here. Find somewhere safe, maybe even if there's a nunnery, something like that, somewhere safe for her to be.
and you will come and find me, yes?
Yes, we will come and find you.
Okay. Okay, she slightly unwillingly, but she will do it, and she will, disappears off at Zavanka as you wave goodbye from the train, leaving her all alone in the middle of somewhere completely unknown. I'm sure it'll all be
How
fine.
old is she?
About, I think she's about 18, 19.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's fine.
She's more than capable of looking after herself. She's not a bad.
Character building.
There you are. Okay, well, we jump forward in time, and the train does stop very briefly at the next station, where if you're looking from the windows, you see those two OGPU types getting off. The train then continues. You've gone a fair few hundred kilometers at this point, and you arrive a couple of stops further on in Ladva, which is the first stop in the Karelian Republic, which is the area you're trying to get to. And at that point, as a train waits in the station, you do note that what looks to be about 5 or so Red Army soldiers board the train at this point. And one of them definitely looks like a higher rank, maybe a lieutenant or a captain or something, come on board the train as the train then picks up and carries on.
I was going to suggest jumping off and catching a local train then. Bugger. Too late.
Okay. Again, the observant ones of you note that the soldiers are working their way through the train. You have a few minutes before they arrive in your particular coach, and I presume you do the same thing again, or
I'm gonna move down a carriage so that I'm not with everyone else.
okay.
That's a good idea, because if they're looking for 4 people, there's only 3.
Yeah. And might I
Okay.
suggest that somebody does go and hide in the toilet this time? Well, they've got the chance. Miss Sullivan, I think it might be a good idea for you to go and hide in.
I'll go and hide in the toilet.
All right.
Okay. The squad kind of enters the carriage. They don't seem to be doing a great deal. Apart the lead guy, a sergeant or a captain or somebody, is speaking quite harshly and quickly in Russian to the various people he comes across, and they kind of arrive at Maxime and Francis, and the Russian starts barking, and then then kind of notices you and sort of changes the tone a little bit, and seems a bit more friendly, and in Russian says, "Do you have your papers?"
Yes.
Yes.
Would I have been able to pick up what he was barking?
Mainly, let me see your papers. Basically,
Okay, so
but he was speaking to what he would consider, Russian peasants and workers, whereas you don't look like Russian peasants and workers.
Certainly hope.
You may be party officials or somebody important, kind of thing, you'd guess. You notice all the way he's been pretty brisk going through. It's very quick, much quicker than the other pair that came earlier. Looks at your papers and doesn't really write anything down, and just says so where you're headed.
Oh, to the forests. We're going hiking.
Hiking, cold for hiking.
It is, but far less people, far less busy.
And this is possibly the only chance we'll get. We didn't want to miss it.
See, from England, yes. This passport.
Yes. We find the snow very, very beautiful. We don't get anything like this in England.
You have travelled from where?
Oh well, we went to Moscow and we came up here.
You were at the celebrations?
We did try and get a little in.
He nods. And with that, he kind of hands you back the papers, your passport and so on, and turns and carries on down the aisle, bypassing Georgina, and then 10 minutes later is with Eleanor, kind of saying the same thing. Eleanor, do you speak Russian? Do you understand the Russian that they say, or do you be English, or how do you react?
No, I know a bit of Russian. I'm obviously heavily accented, but I'll speak to them in Russian. I may even.
Again, he says the same thing. Where are you headed? What for?
Oh, I'm going to go hiking.
Okay, he hears that and he kind of just passes you the papers back and then continues on. It's kind of like heard that before and he's like not interested. You just, you thought, oh, okay. And he just briskly walks on by.
Oh, maybe he suspects something. Oh dear.
But the train continues on, drops off the army soldiers, and around about 8 o'clock that evening, the train kind of goes through Petrozavodsk on the western bank of Lake Onega, which is the capital of the Karelian Republic, and you see the lake, which is well, it looks like a sea, to be honest, from the window that you're going beyond. And from now on, really, you're kind of almost going around the lake. Forests all around, basically. You're in a kind of a forested area, you know, that kind of must be in the immense forests or forested areas anyway around this area. And the lake kind of continues on the right-hand side of the train. And then about 1:30 in the morning, slightly bleary-eyed, the train pulls into Medvedskaya Gora, and you can get off.
We need to have a conversation about this Anna woman.
The 9th of November. Yes. So prior to your getting off, you can talk about Anna if you like, and whatever you want to do.
She's at the next stop. She's in that town. Her mother. No, actually, do I know about the mother? I'm not sure. Anyway,
No, you don't. I don't think you do know about her mother yet.
Yeah.
No.
But she's in the next town, and she seems to have some kind of power to talk to our friends. And that concerns me. It concerns me greatly.
Well, they have mentioned Anna before.
They have mentioned
very
Anna
briefly.
several times. That doesn't necessarily mean that she's a good influence. Are you saying that you think she's a
No.
bad influence, Eleanor?
I have some concerns that because we hold all of the different things that people now want, that we might be getting caught up into something where other people know more about what's going on than us and are after these answers that we have.
I have
But we don't have
rather,
the answer.
I
Wait,
have a
the
rather
number.
funny
We don't have
suspicion that
something.
Krylov knows her as well.
Well, we don't have the number, do we?
We don't have the number.
No.
And Harry said we had to go find this Anna's mother. She knew where she was.
Gottman
So
knows
is
the number but can't be trusted. He's the one that
But
found the
Hester
creature
Price-
in the water.
Well, we know. We know
somewhere in the
Gottman
town
lives
as
somewhere
well.
near around here, doesn't
Yes. Gottman is on the lake somewhere.
he? We have his address.
Hmm.
Krylov
do you-
also wants the answer.
Which we do have. That's that poem thing.
So do
Wasn't
you
that
think
in Krylov's
Anna-
office?
No, that was the symbol.
The symbol, there was a symbol and a short rhyme in Krylov's office. Do you think that Gottman and Anna know each other?
I think that all three of them know each other.
It could be possible.
Three things,
So I didn't-
three people.
I didn't just want to waltz in on this Anna and be all la-di-da-da.
It might be some sort of trap, you mean?
Yes, I agree.
Possible.
But if it is a
Well-
trap and we don't turn up, then they will know that we know something is wrong.
Well, I
Well, we
suspect
should-
we're going to.
We should make sure that we don't have all the things that they need in one place at the same time, surely.
Yes.
Well, the spell
Well,
we've all
you have
memorized.
memorized. Well,
The spell.
nearly all of you have memorized the rhyme that you need to know.
Yep.
I think it's just Georgina that hasn't. Is
Yeah,
that right?
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we don't know the number. and I would suggest that we go and try and find Anna before we try and find Gottman, so that if all else fails, we cannot give anybody the number. We don't have it.
I would suspect, if anything, that this Anna would have the number because she's in proximity to Gottman. Nonetheless,
Who knows about him? If they are in cahoots, I mean, this is it. We just don't know.
Well, the symbol is drawn in my book, but if Anna and Gottman and Krylov all know each other, surely they'd share the fact that they've got a symbol and the number. The only
So
thing that they
need
wouldn't
is the
know
answer.
would be the answer, the spell, the whatever, the incantation that's rather alarmed us back there.
As long as we don't have any written copies of that anywhere about us, we should be all right.
So are you destroying the written copy you have?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So Georgina, you don't have a copy of it and don't
have a copy. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Just so we
want to learn
know.
it?
So when it all comes down to me saving the world, sorry, Pete's. I shall stammer out a few half-remembered phrases that are completely inaccurate.
You can just stand and mouth the words. It'll look good. It'll all be fine.
Yeah, just put on a
As you,
cultist robe and
as you kind of have this conversation as a train is pulling in to I can't even know what it is. I haven't got it in front of me. Medvedgoya. You're skirting past the rivers running off this lake, and cattle and horses standing in fields, and little farmhouses and cabins in the forest areas, and you see the moonlight reflecting on the snow all around, and the silver birches, and it looks like you've kind of gone back to some idyllic agricultural rustic world of the past,
full of dead people. Yeah.
And
charming. It's just like
when
Christmas
you arrive,
Eve.
Unlike the grandeur of Moscow and Leningrad and some of the slightly less grand but still reasonably industrial like train stations you've been passing through, you arrive at a little wooden station. You've been on the train for about 27 hours all told in the two journeys. It's now the 9th of November, 1:30 in the morning. It's very cold, below freezing. Your breath is in clouds in the air. If you haven't got your mittens on, you probably put them on pretty quickly as your fingers start to turn blue and lose feeling. And if you've not got a scarf, then the wind is biting into your face, so you want to be undoing your earmuffs, getting them on. Mostly it's not too strong a wind, but what there is, icy cold as bits of snow are falling, almost like a Christmas scene if it wasn't. And you shuffle off with your whatever possessions you have, and the train pulls away. There's no station staff you can see. There was a guard who got off the train and then got back on again. There is actually only one other traveller that seems to have got off here. A woman, middle-aged, and she's got some bags and is sort of making her way off the platform towards the town.
Right, so we've now basically just got to hike. So we now just need to hike in the general direction of
The man with the huts.
the man
Yes,
with the
Oleg.
hooks. Oleg Billum.
Bilam.
Who and you remember where he lives, don't
In-
you?
Zahinsky Colony.
Zahinsky Colony, exactly correct. And
Hoots for the win.
Are you just gonna kind of plumb north through town or something, or?
I'm trying to remember the instructions. What were we to do?
We basically have to go find this guy in Zahinsky Colony, which is a few miles to the north of here, I think.
Hmm.
And he will sort out accommodation for us. So what we could
That's
do
right.
is we could go and sleep somewhere tonight, get some sleep, and then because walking several miles in
In the
freezing
dark.
cold temperatures is possibly not a very smart thing to do.
I concur.
She says, knowing that there are hypothermia rules. Um,
You've been told 2
Sneaky.
kilometers north of the railway station is the colony, where you can find
that's
our
just
lake.
over a mile then, isn't it? It's a
Yeah,
little
that's
over a
not-
mile.
Yeah. It's nothing.
Unless there's a hotel right
Yeah,
next
let's
to
go and
the
get some
railway
sleep before we
station.
do this, and then you
Yeah.
know, do it in daylight when it's a bit warmer, and we can see where we're going. He's laughing so much, which means there isn't a hotel, so we're gonna have to walk it anyway.
Sorry, I'm laughing because you just said the word hotel. So your plan is at 1:30 in the morning to try and find the hotel in town to then walk the mile to where you're supposed to be staying. Is that right?
Should we just
Yeah.
walk the mile?
Let's just walk the mile in a bit. It'll be
Well,
fine.
Just asking.
It's cold. We're tired. We're not exactly thinking straight. Yeah, let's just walk it then.
There's not a hotel right next to the railway station then.
No,
that's kind
I'm
of the
afraid
only
not. This
caveat.
is a rustic agricultural settlement that has not seen modernity yet.
It's far too provincial, darling.
Then yeah, we should probably.
The houses you can see. It's kind of like the station is on like a terrace almost, and you walk down into the town. The houses are small wooden single-story stuff, very basic. Through the falling snow, you can see small black structures straggle along the kind of the side of the lake down there. And you can see hills kind of climbing up in the kind of starlight. You can see kind of box-like structures standing out in silhouette on the shore. The lake itself is probably about 500 meters away, roughly. It's very quiet. The train's gone. The woman is. You can just sort of make her out. She's not hung around. She's sort of walking down into town. You look, as you kind of look down, you can see you see a kind of a slot of water about 10 kilometers across, a kind of a headland, perhaps about 10 kilometers away. You can see the water of the lake and the moon sort of bouncing off the surface. Could I have a listen roll?
Here we go.
Maybe. Probably not. Come on. Come on, dice.
Oh,
No, I've been rolling so badly tonight.
Oh, I am prepared. Oh gosh, am I? How critical? Did anybody make it?
no, but I am prepared to. Well, I'd have to spend 6 luck to make it.
I'd have to
is it?
spend 5. How much luck
What-
do
what-
you have?
Well, I'm still fairly healthy. I'm like 62 still on my.
Yeah, I'll
luck.
let you do
Not
that.
a
Then, 'cause I'm not quite
bargaining
that healthy.
thing. It's about how do you want to make the roll, not a discussion.
Yes, I want to listen. I will spend.
You spend the luck to make the success.
I will spend the luck to make the success.
You can hear a very faint keening sound coming. Well, it's coming like across, maybe across the water, whether it's in the lake or on the other side of the lake. There's a little headland narrowing of the lake kind of area that you can see, but it's kind of carrying from that way, and it's this strange kind of keening. It's slightly unsettling as you kind of pick it up and listen to it, and it's kind of sustained almost. You kind of think maybe initially it's kind of like a song or a mechanical sound, but it's not. That's not right. It's kind of moving in pitch slightly. It just makes you feel a little bit queasy as well.
That's not good. I should say, shh, can you hear that?
And as you say, shh, can you hear that? Georgina, you suddenly feel this tension. And it's like you want to go now. You want to just say shh to everyone. Don't make a sound to everyone. You just feel like something is about to happen.
Take action.
and can I have a spot hidden roll from everyone, please? I'll give Georgina a bonus because you kind of know where you're looking.
No, that's another one in the 90s.
Another fail.
Wow. These dice are not cooperating.
Well, that was an absolute fantastic success. Yep, that was a super duper success.
So, Eleanor, did you make that?
Yeah, hard success. What I failed on is from real life, where I was using the wrong mouse to unmute myself.
Okay, so just Eleanor and.
Oh, you've frozen, Mike. The suspense is killing me.
Something's about to
Quite
happen.
literally, if we're not looking.
No.
Her eyes are almost kind of bulging.
Oh, you're back.
Got him.
Hello?
You dropped out for a second. You're going to have to backtrack to the moment of suspense.
Okay, I'm back now. Okay, fine. Okay, so Georgina eyes are looking directly across the lake. Eleanor can see her face is really pale. Her eyes are almost bulging out of her head as she's done completely kind of held by something. And you look to see what Georgina is looking at. And Eleanor, you also see that there's something disturbing the water in the lake.
Can I use my luck to fail the roll?
No.
No.
It's not near to you. It's almost like this. You're not looking directly across the lake. You're looking into the further stretch of the lake. So it's almost like on the horizon that you're seeing this disturbance in the water, and it's difficult to make out. But it's really weird because you look at the horizon, and you see the water kind of moving. And then suddenly it's like you're there. It's like your perspective is shifting as if you've just been pulled towards it, and you're looking down and can see this kind of turbulent water, and there's something rising from it, something kind of chitinous and expanding, and something that just feels awful and terrible, and it feels like you shouldn't be watching this.
I try to reach for Mark. I'll call out to him.
You call out, and as you do that, it kind of almost seems to break the spell, and you're back, where you should be. And you just can see the ripples of water kind of spreading out across the lake, and it all seems to get very still. And it kind of, it's all very quiet, and this pressure that was there kind of pounding in your heads just fades and dissipates away. It was like for a moment you were like suspended above the lake, almost like suspended in time. And can I have a sanity roll from both of you, please?
02.
Oh, well done.
I sincerely hope that's a pass.
1 point for Eleanor.
Yes, that was a pass.
And 1 point for Georgina, as you both kind of breathe rapidly and kind of look at each other with some kind of like, shared knowledge that Maxime and Francis kind of just haven't got a clue what's up with you. You both
Did it not happen for you? You didn't see it.
What happened?
You weren't there.
I feel like we really shouldn't have come.
We need to
But
keep
how could
moving. You're
we
obviously
not?
getting cold.
No, that was
No,
far
it's
darker.
not that. There's
That was-
something evil in the lake. Some terrible, hideous thing.
Were we here? Did you see us the whole time?
Yes, you never
yes.
moved. You just looked out over the water and sort of glazed over.
We weren't here.
No, it was dreadful thing. Quick, let's get to cover
Let's
as
get
soon as we
Away
can.
from the lake, then.
The very abominations of hell are in that lake.
I don't
There
feel
is no
safe
lake.
here.
Weston has
So
no idea.
you
what he's
walk
doing.
briskly through the northwards. Is that what you're saying?
Yes,
Mhm.
let us leg it as fast as we can
On snow.
to somewhere with 4 walls and some vodka.
And a fireplace.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel very exposed.
Okay. Okay. So you walk for a mile or so, and it kind of dips in through the town, and then it kind of rises again as you kind of leave the it's quite a small little villagey town, and head into a countryside which is loosely dotted with trees. You can see there are deep forests just on the peripheries. It'd be very easy to just go wandering into the forest, but you try and maintain a kind of roughly northward way. Do you have a compass?
No.
Okay, then I need a navigate roll to just make sure that in the middle of the night when you're really tired and you have no idea where you're really going, that you are going in the right direction.
Did he say they didn't have a compass? No.
Sorry about that. Right, come on, dice. Be good. Be good.
Well, I got into the 80s this time.
Damn it.
No,
Right.
I'm so wound up about the evil in the lake. The only thing I know is that the lake is there. I don't know whether it should be on our right-hand side, our left-hand side, or
Oh,
the moon.
And I'd need to
have we
Georgina's laptop.
got thingy's sketch map?
Yeah.
Can
Yeah,
we use
it
that
is-
to help
it's-
us?
Well, I'm looking at it, and
It's rubbish, isn't it?
Is it
And,
the equivalent
yeah.
of men?
it's basically imagine right. You've got what it has is I'll share it with you, but for now it's a circle which is the lake. There's a dot above it that says Medezria Goya, and then there's another dot just above that says Zelinsky Colony. That's
So
it.
heading away from the lake.
So as long as you're heading away from the lake northwards,
Lake.
but the main issue being without a compass or a navigate roll, whether you're actually heading northwards is debatable at this point in time. So at
Can
the
we see
minute
any
you are
stars?
slightly getting lost.
But
Really
Does anyone like
night,
stuff?
wasn't it?
we only had to go 1 mile. So
1 mile.
if we turn around when we've walked a mile or so and go back to the station, we can start again. And at least we're keeping warm by walking.
You are, yeah. It's just that kind of like, have you walked a mile? How far is a mile when you're kind of tired and it's the night? It's, it's kind of a movable feast. So if you want to push that navigate roll to, that would be fine. And see what's wrong, means a warm bed awaits you if you make the roll. That's all I'm saying.
I check. Well, Maxime checks his pocket watch, because if it's sort of nearish to morning, then at least it's going to get light.
It's not
soon.
near morning. It's like maybe 2 o'clock in the morning.
2 in the morning.
2:30
okay.
at the most.
Okay.
It's not dawn.
It was a try.
And it's snowing more now.
Right.
And it's really cold.
There is no way in hell I can push it. I got 82 and navigates in the low 20.
Okay, well, you can strike out, and you never know, it all might be fine. I'm just giving you the option. Okay.
You are
You're doing that smile, Mike.
How tired and how far do you want to go before you push the roll?
Well, we should only need to walk 15 minutes, and you've got to watch. So if we just walk 20 minutes.
Say half an hour, because it's cold and we're tired. And it is
slightly
over a mile.
We'll say it was 2 o'clock when you officially started heading out properly. So at 2:45, you aren't there.
If we turn around and go back, we might not go back exactly where we think we've been.
You're more cold and more tired now.
Can we see any lights anywhere?
You can probably just make out the lights, some light falling on the town you've just come from. Otherwise, it seems like there is forest ahead of you, to the left, right, and ahead of you. There might be a trail, but the snow isn't helping you find that.
I believe there was a notion about a hotel.
There was. It's okay. He's just going to die of hypothermia in the wilds of Russia. It's all right.
We made it quite a long way into the campaign.
This is true. This is true. As soon as somebody fails that push roll, we're all dead.
Yeah, well.
I'm desperately looking at.
I'd have a 1 in 10 chance of passing.
There's no way I'm pushing it. I have 10%.
You can carry on the direction you go in, or you can go back to town and try again.
Back to town whilst we can see the lights.
Yes, let's go back to town while we're still upright.
Go back to town. So it's now 3:15. And you head out again, yeah?
The station.
As you're starting from scratch, I will allow you a navigate roll and not count it as a push, because you have started from scratch.
What the hell is wrong with these dice?
Okay, I'm going to use the dice I haven't used tonight in the vague, because the other 2 pairs are not cooperating. Come on, Babas.
I don't think I've ever rolled this bad in any game.
15 away with 33 luck.
I'm 15 away with 50 luck. And it's
You could spend the luck, or you don't have to spend any if you want to make that push roll now.
Sod it, I'll spend the luck. You only live once.
Spending the luck, I think it's a wise choice. As
I hate you.
You contemplate looking at like, haven't we been this way before? And kind of, slightly, but I think we were over there. And as you look around the trees, the idea comes to you that maybe if there's a trail that's obviously covered by the snow, the fallen snow, maybe there's, you can tell the trail between the gaps in the trees, that there might be a clearing through the trees. And once you think about that, you guess that actually that's quite a big gap between those, that 2 clumps of trees in that tree line. Let's try there. And once you get inside the forest where the snow is, not so heavy on the ground, you discern a trail. Would you like to follow that trail?
Georgina's just crying tired by now. And you're so weary. She's just quietly kind of tears running and freezing down her cheeks. A combination of the terror in the lake and wandering for hours. She's not capable of making any decisions, so she's just going to follow.
You're now kind of almost all of you on autopilot now, kind of trudging. At least the snow isn't heavy in the middle of the forest. It is denser forest, but there is this apparently a trail you can follow, and you're kind of getting deeper through this forest. And just as Georgina kind of just takes a moment to just hang on a second, I just need to catch my breath, in a quite a resolute fashion, I imagine, because you just had enough, is when as Georgina sighs, and then there's a little bit of silence, and then you hear the howling sound, which sends shivers down your spines as the howl reminds you of a certain howl you heard on a ship as you were headed towards Russia only those few days ago, that it sounded like one of the
I don't care.
Zelozny.
I'm tired. I am feeling really grumpy, and I have a penknife.
Can I have a spot hidden roll from everyone, please?
Oh.
It depends.
My dice are progressively getting lower, but really not at a decent rate.
Oh, that was a hard pass, and about time, really. So I can spot the hidden, I just can't do anything about it.
Georgina and Eleanor, hearing the howl, just look ahead, looking for somewhere to just go. And it's that point is when you see a light ahead, like a warm glow from a wooden cabin window, perhaps.
I make a sound. It's vocal. It's a bit screechy, possibly a scream, and I run towards it.
Okay, you leg it towards the cabin. Georgina, do you do the same, or do you just collapse?
Oh yes, I'm not letting Eleanor I'm not letting either the cabin or Eleanor out of my sight, no matter how exhausted, tired, and sad I am.
As Maxime and Francis kind of look towards this howling side, they then hear some movement. They turn and see Georgina and Eleanor literally legging it away down this path. What do you two do?
Stupid idea. Well, they've obviously spotted something. And we can't leave them on their own in the woods in the middle of the night, so following them.
The howling's still happening.
Quick. I draw my sword cane, but I'm gonna try and chase after them.
Yeah,
so you follow, and Francis, do you want to? You're going to follow as well. Okay. You sure you don't want to hang it out in the woods in case they've done the wrong thing?
No.
No, Mike.
Okay.
Sorry, are you getting bored with these characters?
Eleanor, you are the first to see a small lantern hung from a porch in front of a little wooden cabin. It looks welcoming. What do you want to do?
Run straight inside.
You just run in.
Yeah.
Barrel in through the door. Okay, you barrel into the door. I'm pretty sure Georgina does the same. And then the rest of you, arrive at this cabin, and inside. Well, you'll have to wait till next time to see what you find inside, won't you? So that's it for tonight, and we'll see you same time, same place next week for What's Inside the Cabin with the Dead Within. And we'll say goodbye. See you later. Ta-da. Thanks for playing. Thanks for watching.